So my wife and I just purchased a $1.2 million property, 50 acres of corn, 50 straight acres of corn. And we bought this property because we're going to make an investment in it. We actually want to build out a lot of stuff there, possibly move our business there, build a house there as well. I do a lot of unique things. I'm here in Tokyo, and I'm here for 2 weeks. And I was thinking through this process because when we purchased the property, okay, and inside of this video, I want to talk about what the property purchase was like, but then what I think that purchase is going to be like in 5 years, and what the crypto space is going to be doing for real estate purchases, and even getting to the point where you guys might have a real estate Tinder on your freaking phones, and you're going to have these apps that you're going to be able to swipe up for pieces of real estate that you might want to purchase if you're in a good financial spot. So the reason why I wanted to share this story about the purchase of the property was because as we were sitting there and we were going through buying this property, and we started talks back in April of 2025, okay? April of 2025. And these talks went through. We had all these different meetings with lawyers and discussions. This property wasn't on the market. Look, you guys can see Tokyo behind me right there. It's a crazy city, absolutely phenomenal. I think this is the 5th time I've been in Tokyo. I was here at the 2021 Olympics. I had been here twice before that. Once I flew through here, and now I'm here for 2 weeks. So this property was not on the market, okay? And I was at an auction to purchase another piece of real estate that I did not end up purchasing. And anyway, I started to talk to this individual, and I pieced things together that he was selling this property about 2 or 3 years ago, and I had some interest in it. And so we went through all these talks with the lawyers. We went through everything, clarified everything, spent time going through it. And then in turn, as we walked through everything, we had to wire this guy sort of like the money that you put down before you put down your down payment. Like, hey, this is the earnest money. Here's $50,000, and you can get this. And just that process alone, okay, just the process of sharing $50,000 was a massive headache. Absolutely insane, because you have to go to the bank. You have to tell the bank what you're doing. They have to write the bank certified check. And then you have to go, in this case, in this specific relationship, we had to get it notarized. We had to go to the house of the individual because it was a private sale, deal with the individual in the private sale, which was perfectly fine, and then get it confirmed that we signed this. And then that was sent to our lawyer. He got his stuff from his lawyer, and then he could cash the check. And then the check actually gets held. The check actually gets held by my lawyer. Okay, so now this process goes through. And then we end up getting to the point where, okay, now we're going to purchase the property, and you start to fiddle around with, do we start with another entity? Do we create another company, another real estate company, real estate holding company? And you start to think through all these different factors. You're talking to your tax strategist. And then it comes down to bringing the down payment and handling the down payment. And if you have a bank, so when you purchase and the money goes to the lawyer, okay, who's in charge of the deal, okay, and you give that lawyer to hold the money, if they have a bank that holds the money that is separate from your bank, it is a massive pain. Okay, it is very annoying. Now, what does this have to do with purchasing a house and having a financial or real estate Tinder? If we think through stable coins, okay, and we look at stable coins essentially as this digital cash equivalent. So if you think about you're on Coinbase, or if you're somebody who has any background in crypto, let's say you're on Coinbase and you know what USDC is. It is a US, it's the crypto equivalent of the American dollar, the US dollar. Okay, so now this is a fiat. This is a fiat backed or digitally native. It's a fiat digitally native and interoperable form of crypto. So now this is a stable coin, is a representation of the American dollar, and it's backed by that. And what ends up occurring then is that there becomes a real world asset market. Okay, so if I have a digital coin that is in my internet wallet, think about it's on your phone, it's in your Apple wallet, and you got 10,000 USDCs, okay, and then all of a sudden we have these tokens for properties. Okay, so think about the corn scenario. You have corn property token, corn token, let's just call it. And this corn token is, let's say there's 100 shares available of this corn token. And now, as an individual, let's say that you're selling this corn token, okay, and you are offering, hey, I have 100 shares of the corn token available. You can purchase it here, and it's on this specific website. Let's say it's on Zillow, and you can swipe up if you like it. And you can, in theory, just by, let's say you swipe up, and then immediately, because you look through the factors that you liked, and we're telling you what we're going to be doing with the property, and we're going through everything, and it could be at midnight. Midnight, it doesn't matter. It's not relegated to time, like let's say the stock market. And now you like that. We end up as an entity get the token, and over time it becomes essentially a form of a bond. Okay, where you're saying, okay, I'm buying into this, and then eventually, there's going to be different types of contracts that might play out over a long period of time. But the interesting part here is that the pain in the butt stuff around dealing with the banks and exchanging the money could be as simple as now you have a Tinder app for, I know that sounds wild, for real estate, but also in the case where you're just buying it directly from another person, I could actually call up and say, or message and say, I want to purchase, this entire property. Here's 10,000 corn tokens, or here's my stable coins to purchase that corn tokens, the 100 corn tokens available, and I want to become full owner. So now the actual stable coins, okay, so the USDC, that's the digital cash equivalent that is representative of your finances, which makes it easier to trade with somebody else who has the same, that they are open to doing this type of trading. The collateralization is backed by fiat, okay, so it's backed by that US dollar. And then on top of that, this utility is that we can trade and we can come to a settlement like that instantaneously. We come to a settlement, okay, and there's immediate transaction. It's immediate. It doesn't take days. It doesn't take 5 days for that money to show up in your account because the bank wants to get some type of interest off it. It's immediate. Okay, it directly goes into the account, and now you have the actual stable coins. I have the 100 tokens available, and now I'm rightfully the owner here. So the interesting part is that that's how things are going to, now that was a little bit of a complex explanation, but genuinely, you will be able to say, okay, I'm going to put $50,000 down, and there's going to be some type of trading app or something that will say, okay, let's say on Zillow, okay, I'm on Zillow, you're on Zillow, here Zillow gets a small fee, that's how they're going to make their money. And then we're gonna be in a legally binding aspect because we're gonna be agreeing to this stablecoin transaction. I get the tokens, and now in turn it's gonna happen much quicker, and there's not gonna be any pain in the butt. And the thing is that I've talked about this, and there should be the interesting part here with AI, bringing AI into this, is that now you start to see that AI should be able to be used for fraud detection. Okay, for looking at where the money is actually coming from and all these things. And I've even brought up in the past that these stable coins, this is how things are going to be happening in the future across country borders. So I recently shared I had gotten paid by the government of Colombia. And so when the government of Colombia, it takes weeks to get money. But if I can say to them, I have USDC and I have this is my wallet, send me 10,000 USDC, and I expect it in here because we both have the stable coin now, I expect it to show up rapidly instead of jumping through all these hoops, getting my bank routing number, and just dealing with all these different factors. So it's going to take time for this to happen. But what has occurred is that essentially we're going to have to wait for the SEC and global regulators and how they're going to classify tokenized real world assets. And are they going to be, how are they going to view these things? And the thing that's interesting is like a lot of this stuff is going to happen on top of Ethereum. And so when we think about the future, these are scenarios that I'm bringing up inside of my head for my own thought process, for my own case studies mentally. These are going to happen, and it will be resolved in the next 5 to 10 years. It's going to happen way quicker than we realize, especially because of this rise of AI. And so I'm hoping that you're not taking this as financial advice to invest in Ethereum or to invest in Bitcoin immersion, because that is not financial advice, but it's a drill for me to think through where this could go in the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years. So the price of Ethereum can drop, or price of Bitcoin immersions can drop. All these things might be crazy, but when we think about the practicality and we think about all these things happening, it becomes a real thing. And when you're actually making these purchases and these changes, it makes sense. It's just, a platform. Maybe it's Robinhood, which is going to try and get into tokenized real world assets. Maybe it's Coinbase. Maybe it's a brand new startup that is going to be building on top of Ethereum, because the Clarity Act and all these, the Genius Act, these have been passed and they're now acknowledged by the U.S. government. And now this is how we are going to see fiat currency and Wall Street meets crypto / DeFi / real world human beings that are going to be using all different parties here in this crazy new financial system. Hope this helps somebody out there. Comment down below, subscribe, please like this. I want to get this channel to grow. Let me know what you guys think about this crazy idea, if it's too far out there. Until next time, peace.